Ireland is now the number one destination for US tech companies setting up abroad. Traditionally would have been the educated workforce and the low tax rate that were particularly attractive. But to that, I think I would add the ease of setting up a business in Ireland and also the ability then to trade across Europe, selling goods and services online from an Irish company. For e-commerce activity, an Irish company structure makes it relatively easy to sell across the EU. The e-commerce directive has at its heart the principle of country of origin, which means that it is the country where the business is established, where it has its legal footprint, that regulates and controls the activities of that online business, rather than it being the host country or where the goods or services are sold into that controls it. These businesses selling across Europe don't have to comply with the laws of each of the member states they're selling into, and this significantly reduces the regulatory burden for those companies. And for US companies, having Ireland as their home country makes things that bit easier because everything is in English and it's got a similar legal system to the US. So for contracts and customer-facing issues, it can be quite similar to what they have already in the US. So after setting up the Irish company, the next thing will be that the website or platform or marketplace would be developed for the EU market. Now that might be using a .eu domain name, or you'd have country specific like .ie for Ireland, .fr for France, but actually that's not mandatory. The business can continue to work with its .com URL and just maybe have an EU-facing section within that .com website or platform. The online business then needs to get its customer-facing legal documents in order, and so we work with clients to review their website terms, their privacy policies and notices, cookie notices, as well as terms of sale or contracts of supply. And because of EU rules on consumer protection, sale of goods, the existing terms and contracts that the US business have would probably need to be adapted somewhat for use in the EU. There are greater rules around transparency for consumers, mandatory pre-contract information that has to be given to customers, and also rules on things like unfair commercial practices, which means that we work with our clients to do, if you like, a gap analysis between their existing customer-facing and particularly consumer-facing terms to make them compliant with the laws in the EU and working from a base in Ireland. And there are new rules coming in which impose even stricter requirements as regards sale of goods and supply of digital services and digital content. And then there's stronger rules around consumer protection. So we work with our clients to keep them ahead of all of those for when they're selling across the EU. It's useful to note that there is no general business license required or reseller license required for setting up an e-commerce activity in Ireland. There are sector-specific regulations, so things like the sale of alcohol or cosmetics or medical devices, or even in areas like telecommunications where you do need a specific license. But then a lot of our clients' products and services can be quite sophisticated, so they can bring in things like platform to business regulations or PSD2, the Second Payment Services Directive, or even touch on things like communication services under the EECC or audiovisual services. So we work with our clients kind of as external product counsel to check through all of the aspects of their particular products and services to make sure that they are compliant with the various laws in Ireland and the EU before they launch them in Europe.